ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Reverend Ken Krippner.
Thank you very much. On behalf of my wife Pam and I, we thank you very much for inviting us out to speak today. It is truly our honor and our privilege to be here today. It is part of our hopes and our prayers that you feel the love of all the service, that you feel their protection and their care, that some things that you may not have felt rise within you rise. A sense of patriotism and care from our armed services. We also have a special thanks for the Color Guard from Shelton, which was our Andy's alma mater. We thank you for that. This last Wednesday marked 1 year ago that our son Andy was killed by an IED in Afghanistan. A couple of weeks before Andy's junior year of high school at Shelton, he proudly went down and enlisted in the infantry. Five weeks after his graduation from high school, Pam and I sat on the curb at the station as the bus pulled out for Fort Benning to take Andy to basic training. 11 short weeks later, Andy finished his basic and advanced infantry training. We had a short time and then more tears as he left off to his post at Schofield. Andy had the honor and the privilege of serving in Afghanistan, and it was only 6 weeks into his duty tour that his life was taken by an IED with 3 of his very dearest brothers. I was asked to talk to you today a little bit about what it's like to be a father whose son is taken by war. The short answer is that those of you who, of course, know, this has been the most terrible year of our life. There are ups and there are downs. There are moments of immense pride, a sense of courage, thankfulness. There are times of depression. There are times of hurt. But as those of you who know understand, God has been good through all of this. His faithfulness, his courage, the resurrection, the glory that he welcomed Andy into on the 23rd has carried us along with all of his people who have rushed forward to be there. It has been hard, but we look forward with a zeal to that day that our son will welcome us into glory, introduce us face to face with our Savior, and we will look back and say it was all worth it. So yes, we do grieve. This has been terrible. But we grieve with a sense of courage and faith. You ask any marathon runner, the people in the middle of the pack never grieve for those who have finished the race. There's a sense of, I can't wait for that day. On days like today, Memorial Day, I think of times past. I think of that day when Andy enlisted and how much he hated to run. And yet he spent his senior year running all the time because he didn't want to be the slowest guy. He didn't want to be the guy who let down the team because he was in the back. He wanted to lead. If you have never been there, I encourage you to try, because there is a pride beyond words the day when your son or daughter takes their oath of office to defend our country from enemies, foreign and domestic. I remember the pride when he graduated from training and he left for Afghanistan. This tall, lanky kid at DFW with no hair on his head anymore, with a pride that he was going to make a difference with his life. And I can tell you that he did. Fighting courageously. Pam and I had an opportunity recently to be with Andy's unit and to hear stories. And to hear of a young man who shared his faith in some of the ugliest of circumstances and who made a mark on men who want to be greater. Of the sayings that Andy used to have, I'll always remember him telling the story of the people who would talk to him on Facebook. Of course, that's how people communicate today. And they would say to him, "Why do you have to go?" And he would say, "Why don't you want to go? This is your country. These are the people who stand behind you." And so today we have a very special sense of thanks to the United States military, all branches, because you embraced our son, because you taught and mentored and trained our son to be the very best soldier that he could be. And you have cared for Pam and I in the coming days with immense pride and honor. On days like today, I remember the day that Andy was killed. As I had said a couple weeks ago, Pam and I had the opportunity to be with Andy's unit. It was a great opportunity for face-to-face, to put names with faces, to hear stories, to share our hurts, to help them through some of their PTSD. And I will always remember how they would tell of that day. They were on their way back from a mission. Andy was driving the first vehicle. And when it was hit by an IED, it flew in the air. And as it hit the ground, before any of the following 5 vehicles could have come to a stop, when the dust was still passing by vehicles, Lieutenant Peterson and Specialist Cruz had already jumped out of their vehicles to enter the battle. As the insurgents had laid down cover fire to suppress our soldiers, here are the soldiers of Andy's units jumping out into harm's way, returning fire and seeking to help their fallen brothers. As I said, we had an opportunity to share our stories, to hug these young men, to shake their hands, to tell them, "Well done for all your courage." For any of you who would doubt or wonder whether America's best and brightest are courageous or fearless or will stand there in harm's way for you, you need only remember these stories of soldiers who will jump down into cover fire for you. They are brave. They are courageous. They do this because of who they are and the honor to serve you and I in this country. Another thing that we will never forget is that after Andy was killed, a young lady from our church joined the Texas Guard in honor of Andy. She tells about a day during boot camp where a drill sergeant was standing in front of her and yelling at her. I guess because that's what drill sergeants do. And he yelled at her and asked, "Why did you join?" And she told him about Andy. And when he moved on to his next victim, a soldier, she said that from behind her, another soldier said, "Are you talking about Andy Krippner?" And she said, yeah. And he said, he's why I joined too. His parents are here in the fourth row, right here. Would you hold up your hand? If you have any questions about the patriotism and the sense of honor of our young people today, not all understand, but you can be assured that many are answering the call, that many are eager to make a difference with their lives. There are many who will stand up for you, for myself, for the freedoms that we enjoy in this country. There are some who have asked if you could have changed things. Would you? No, we had no idea that our son would be killed in action. But I will tell you that we would never have asked him to do anything else. Because the heart of a soldier has a pride that they need to do things in life. They need to stand up. And I thank you all for being here today to honor those who have been fallen and those who serve. Thank you.